Ladies and gentlemen, today is October 17th, 2013. And this is the KNKL Show, episode number 108. I'm your host, Keenan Lafferty, and this is the show where we learn to be better artists. And on Thursdays, we like to specifically focus in on our mental capabilities. What is happening between the two ears of our artist minds, not just with our creations, but with our emotions, with how we feel about ourselves. And today we're going to be talking about being yourself, right? Because this is a very, very important topic, something that I really believe in, and I heard a talk on it and just heard some messages throughout this week that really made me want to talk about this today, being yourself. But before we get into that, I have a quick announcement to make. For those of you who have been watching this week, you'll know that I was working on Wayna, or aka Lulu, right? And the piece is done. I'm going to be releasing the time-lapse very soon, as well as posting the thing up to DeviantArt. So stay tuned for that over the weekend. Alrighty then, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into today's talk. Today's talk. That was a nice thing, and I dropped my journal on my keyboard, but that's okay because I did that being myself. Myself did that, and I be myself here. All right, so let's first just listen to that. Listen to that, the sound of that phrase, right? Just be yourself. Right? I'm sure you've heard this many, many times. You've heard people say 100 times, I just have this problem with, oh, this girl doesn't like me, or I want this person to like me, or I'm going in for the interview at this job, and I just don't know how to act, right? And everybody always says the same thing. They're always like, be yourself. But what does that really mean? And, there's a certain part of me that I really hated that phrase, like, be yourself. It's like, it's so obvious that, like, people basically telling you that, you feel dumb. It's like, oh yeah, I should just be myself. But I think a reason why it always bothered me, why the phrase be yourself always bothered me, was because sometimes I feel like, I oftentimes, everybody has, like, insecurities about themselves. We all have things that we want to improve. And I would always get the feeling that, well, me, just myself is not good enough, right? I need to show, like, the best part of me, or the person that I want to be, right? I want to make a good impression on this person. I want to make a good impression on this employer, right? Show them the kind of person that, they want to see. Tell them the things that they want to hear, because myself, I'm not good enough. And, and it's so easy to kind of fall into that trap. You understand that? And I think what really kind of made it click for me, finally, was that the way that they worded it was be yourself with all your imperfections as well, right? So there's no longer this pressure of, oh, okay, well, I gotta be myself, I gotta be the best version of myself I could ever be, just like highlight all of my strengths and none of my weaknesses. It's like, no, just literally show everything that you are. Be yourself, be your strengths, right? Really push your strengths, and also don't be afraid to show that you're not perfect. Don't be afraid to show, and this is so important for artists, right? And the reason why I want to talk to you guys about this today, as far as, many of you out there are artists, is because I feel like we often get stuck in this terrible pattern, or this terrible, habit of constantly looking around at what everybody else is doing, right? Especially on DeviantArt. You're looking at this artist that you really like, and you're just like, oh, whoa, that guy's so good, and he has like 2 million page views, and oh yeah, I want to be famous like that guy. I want a lot of people to look at my page, so I just gotta copy what he's doing. I gotta be as good as him, right? And what I think happens when people do this is that they sabotage themselves. They sabotage their ability to bring whatever is unique about them, about you, right? You are sabotaging your ability to bring whatever you have that is unique to the table. And instead, you're trying to fit, you're taking the Jello mold of somebody else and just slamming it on top of you, and you're just becoming another one. But you'll never be as good as the original Jello mold. So, you're just going to be a second-rate version of whatever artist you're trying to copy. And that's something that I really want to make sure that you guys don't fall into as far as a trap. And I mean, I say this, and I still even do this. I still go on DeviantArt, and I'm like, oh man, this person's so good. Or sometimes I'll go on there and be like, he's not even that good, but he has all these page views, and all these people look at him. It's like, what is he doing? Like, why is he more popular than I am? You know, and it's such a stupid thing to say, you know, even saying it, it's like embarrassing for me to say that. But these are like subconscious things that are happening in my mind. It's like, oh, that person's not even that good. Why do they deserve that? I deserve that. I'm better. I'm better than that. And that's another problem. That's another problem that I have, and maybe some of you have out there, is that you're always comparing yourself. You're not only like trying to like look up to people, but you're always kind of like comparing yourself. Be like, oh yeah, I'm better than this guy at this, so oh, okay, I'm good, I'm good. But then you set yourself up to get like ticked off when, you know, somebody else gets more views than you, or just like some stupid arbitrary thing. It's like, who cares how many people look at your art, right? Who cares how many hits your freaking DeviantArt page has, or your YouTube page has, or your videos have? What matters most is that you need to keep, this goes back to, you know, something that I also talk about, is whenever you do something, whenever you create a piece of art, you have to separate yourself from the emotions and the expectations of what other people are going to think about you. And you have to do it for yourself, right? The reason I'm making a comic, even though it's really easy to fall into that trap, it's so easy, and it's very natural to just fall into the trap of, oh man, what if this comes out and people don't like it? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is literally just slap it down. Again, be yourself. If it doesn't come out perfect, then that's the way that you would have done it anyway, right? You see? It's like, and you're improving too. Don't expect stuff to ever come out perfect, because it's never going to. If you're chasing perfection for your art, then that's something that's just going to keep you disappointed with yourself the whole way there, because you're never going to reach perfection. As long as you are alive, you have not created your best work yet. So I want you guys to really consider that. All right. I hope everything is going good over here. So people are saying funny things over in the chat. And yeah, I hope that nothing I say is coming across as narcissistic or anything. I'm really just trying to be honest with you guys and tell you some of the things that I fall into, like mentally, and why even I myself know that these are bad mentalities to be in. This whole thing of like comparing myself to other people, looking up to other people, wishing that I could be them, or like getting ticked off that somebody else is more popular or whatever, you know, with their comic or with their artwork or their YouTube show. You know, it's like, it doesn't matter, right? Because the reason why I started all of these things was for me, right? And it wouldn't matter. I mean, I think it's awesome that you guys are out there and you enjoy tuning in and watching this live, but really, in the end, is like, I did this for two people, and I say that all the time. It's like, I do this for two people. Those two people could be my brothers, those two people could be my parents. Like, it doesn't matter. As long as two people thought what I was doing was really awesome and they were inspired by it, like, I would have considered that a success. And that's another thing that I want to go into a little bit, is that I really feel that success is oftentimes joined with an outcome, right? You say, oh, I'll be successful when I finally get this. And I've talked about this a couple times before. But really what I want you guys to start doing is understanding that you almost want to flip it the other way around. You want to reverse whatever your equation for success is. And success is not the end. Success is not the end, and once you get there, then you can be happy. Success is actually the beginning. Success is just deciding that you're going to do it, because once you commit to something and you decide it, and then you would freaking give your life for the rest of your existence to make it happen, you know, like me, and, you know, just perfecting art, right? Art is a journey, and art is a lifestyle. You know, that's something that is going to take your entire life. If it's something, even if it's just a hobby, or if it's something that you want to be your entire life, it's going to consume and just be a big journey in your life. So take pride in that, and take excitement in that, and that your success is just the fact that you decided, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to improve in my style. I'm going to figure out who I am. I'm going to figure out what my unique style is that I bring to the table. I'm going to look to others just to be inspired and figure out, oh, okay, oh, I like this little thing that this guy does, and kind of bring that into my repertoire of style, right? But I'm not going to copy them, right? So, yeah, like, make sure you guys don't link success with something that you're trying to attain. And again, this is something that even as I say this to you, I do this myself. I'm constantly saying, you know, I'm held back by fear of, oh, well, if I try this and it doesn't work, then I'll look stupid, right? Or that would be really embarrassing, you know, if I have this expectation of, you know, I'm gonna start this lawn gnome business that freaking kicks dogs in the butt when they try to take a dump on your lawn, right? And if that doesn't work out, then I'm gonna be so embarrassed because everybody's gonna see me try, and then I'm gonna fail. Really, it's not about that. The point is that you're a success the moment you decide to do something. And even when you fail, even if whatever you decide to do fails, you're one step closer to figuring out what will work for you, or it's just gonna, it's just gonna work, right? Every failure is just another step to success. And the people that are more successful are willing to fail more than the people that are less successful. And I really like that. That's another thing that I really like, is that these people that just be themselves, people that be themselves and aren't afraid to fail, are oftentimes end up being more successful than the people that fail once and they're like, ooh, oh, well, I can't do that again. That was so painful. Oh, I'm gonna stay over here, stay nice and comfy, secure. I don't have to take any chances over here. Just, live the nice, average, mediocre life that all the other people live right around me. And that's another thing that I wanted to tell you guys about, is that I think a lot of times, you hear the word be yourself, but you might say, well, I'm freaking weird, so why would I want to be myself? I'm not normal. If I were to really be myself, other people would consider me abnormal, right? Or I'd be weird, or I'd be outcast, or whatever. And I think that this is another really dumb thing to say, because whether it's just your attitude towards life, whether you're a positive person, most people these days are not very positive. They're all very, very negative. They think that they're the victims of whatever happenstance or circumstances happen in their lives, and what other people say they can and can't do, or their boss, or their, how much money they make, or what car they drive. They think that they're the victim, and they're basically subject to whatever those circumstances put on them, and they believe that that is their life. Most people think that way. And I thought that way for a long time too. But I decided one day that I was going to take responsibility for my life, and once I did that, I realized that the reason that I was unhappy with my life was not because of anything that was happening outside. The reason I was unhappy with my life was because of me. And once you do that, that gives you, it's very liberating. It's very humbling at first, but then it's also very liberating, because then you realize, whoa, like, I am actually in control of my life. I am in control of everything that's going to happen in my life, right? 99.99% of everything that's going to happen in my life, I am in control of. And like the crazy things that happen, like the tragedies and all that stuff, again, you're in control of how you perceive those things and what those mean to you, right? It's not so much what happens, it's what you do about it and how you perceive it. Okay, so anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is that don't look to be normal, okay? Whether that's being an artist or a person. Don't look to be normal. Don't look around what everybody else is doing and be that way, right? Because normal is average, right? Normal is average. And if you try to be normal, if you try to just do what everybody else thinks is okay and normal, then you're just going to wind up as an average person. You're going to wind up with an average amount of skill in art. You're going to wind up with an average whatever, If you just focus on what everybody else is doing, you're just going to become average. So that's another reason I say being yourself. Oftentimes you say, "Oh, I'm weird," or "I'm not like other people." It's like it doesn't matter, because something I've really realized is when you be yourself, when you really express yourself, sometimes I feel like it inspires people. Like a good example is this guy. There's this guy that was doing a dance on America's Got Talent or something like that. I totally forgot his name. Let me see if I can look it up really quick. But I think it's Peter Jackson? No, I'm going to figure it out. But anyway, this guy was on America's Got Talent, right? And he just went up and he did a dance for this song. I'm going to find out what it is right here. I really hope it's Peter Jackson. No, it's not Peter Jackson. I wasn't thinking Peter Jackson is the director. It's something like that. I'm going to find it. But anyway, he did this dance in front of this whole studio audience. And because he just let go, because he just relaxed and he was himself, I feel that when you do that, it really inspires people, and you can feel it. There's a certain energy that kind of permeates everything else. And he wasn't even a good dancer. He wasn't a good dancer. Tommy Franklin. Tommy Franklin. That's who it is. Tommy Franklin. If you YouTube Tommy Franklin, you'll see his little dance on YouTube over there. And I'll put it over in the chat so you guys can see it. But I really liked it because, it just, when I saw that, I was like, man, he's just dancing, he's having a good time, he's just being himself, he's kind of letting go of the expectations of this, thousands of people in the crowd, and he's not even that good, right? He's not good by everybody else's standards. He's not freaking doing, windmills on the floor and doing all these breakdance moves and, just all these impossible flips in the air. He's just being himself. And that's really kind of, in a nutshell, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, is that, just when you do that, when you believe in yourself and you're okay with not being the best, when you're okay with the imperfections that you are, when you're okay with your strengths and your weaknesses and you let it all show, right? I feel like it really inspires people and it draws people to you and it improves the quality of your life and it just gives you a lot of confidence in yourself because you realize no longer do I have to conform or be what everybody else expects of me. All I have to do is just do what I really want to do. And it's funny because once you do that, once you finally just let go of what everybody else thinks about you, then it's almost like everybody wants to everybody's interested in you at that point. As soon as you stop caring about people being interested, then they become interested in you. As soon as you stop caring what everybody else thinks about your artwork or your comic or whatever, then people start really gravitating towards it because they're like, whoa, this is so genuine. This isn't like, he's not sold out. He's not doing this. He's not trying to play us like some freaking tool or something. He's not trying, you don't get the feeling that you're reading this, but oh, he put this in here because he's trying to pander to these people, whatever. And I just feel like it's very awesome and it's very true. So anyway, Peter Jackson. I'd love to see Peter Jackson dance. I'd love to see Peter Jackson dance his butt off and inspire me. Peter Jackson. Okay, anyway. Alright, so next one. Oh, and this is another good thing. And I'm looking at my journal for those of you who are curious about this stuff. Again, for those of you who have not gone out to your local Barnes & Noble, supported it, go check it out. Journals are awesome. Alright, another thing that I wrote in there that really stuck out to me was a quote that I heard lately, and it is, happiness is not pleasure. Happiness is victory. Happiness is fire engines going on in the background. But I feel like a lot of people link happiness to just being okay or experiencing pleasure or just having fun throughout their entire lives. But it just seems like no matter how good your circumstances are, even these people with massive amounts of money and the nicest cars and just babes on their shoulders, right? They're just walking around all the time. Oftentimes those are the people that end up being mentally sick. They feel lonely, right? Even they have all those people that love them, they feel, they long for the days when, people want to become famous, right? They get famous and they have all this attention, and then they long for the days where they could just be themselves, right? They long for the days where they could just walk down the street and just have that privacy or whatever, There's tons of studies that have been done on this type of stuff. And that's why I kind of want to tell you guys that happiness is not just getting what you want. Happiness is overcoming the challenges. Happiness is overcoming the things that we're constantly going to be pushing against you throughout your life, right? And a lot of the things are going to be mental in your head. Fear saying, oh, you can't do this, or fear saying, oh, last time you did this, you failed miserably. Why are you going to try again and embarrass yourself? When you overcome those things and you push past that and you develop and you basically do discipline, that's where true happiness comes from. You progress towards things. Progression is really where it's at. It's not about just getting something. It's not like someone just hands you $1 million and be like, oh, thank you so much for this. Oh, I've been waiting to be happy my whole life, and now that I have $1 million, I can be happy. It's awesome. And then you have all your relatives be like, oh, hey, you just got $1 million? Oh, yeah, why don't you help me out with that? And then you have all these people trying to grab it from you, and you feel like, you didn't earn it, so everybody's just talking down to you. You'd be like, oh, why don't you give some to me? You didn't earn it. What do you think, you're special or something? And then you just get all this negative attention, and you almost wish that you didn't even have it, right? Yeah, it's just one scenario. But again, it's not about just getting things. If someone just gives you something, then yeah, you'll be excited for the moment. But after a while, you're never going to appreciate it the same amount as if you really worked for it and you achieved victory over the challenges. So, anyway, anyway, you guys are funny. We're fire engines coming to my house to put out the flames of the show. Yes, we are burning up today. And we've been going for about 20 minutes, so that's good. It's good. But yeah, let me open up question catapults, because we'll just do that for a little while. And in the meantime, I will sum it up by basically let's talk about another good way of knowing that you're being yourself. And this goes back. I can actually give you guys a good example with this. And again, this is very personal, so I hope that you guys appreciate this. But that's what we're all about on Thursday, right? Being personal. Okay, so you got Wayna over here, right? Lulu? And the very first, and this has a lot to do with art too, the very first one of these that I did was Poppy, right? Now let's go ahead and pull up Poppy. So this is a good example of the stuff that can happen to you while you're working on your art, okay? So basically when I started Poppy, this was an idea that I had, like one day I just woke up and I was like, you know what? I just feel like drawing Poppy, right? I just feel like drawing Poppy. And I didn't care about, showing anybody. I was going to post it to my DeviantArt like normal. I was going to time-lapse it for the show, and then I put it up. And it was just like great, and everybody loved it. And I got all this attention, right? And they're like, oh, whoa, I love Poppy. I've never seen her drawn like this before. Oh, I like the ears and all this stuff. People from Riot are like contacting me and be like, oh, that's so cool that you drew her like this. And, I was like, oh, yeah, that's great. Okay, cool. Awesome. Like, that's really cool. That got me a lot of attention, right? A lot of people really enjoyed that. Maybe I can make another one. Maybe I can make another one and get even more attention, right? So then I was like, okay, I'm going to make Tristana, right? Because it's now, female Yordles. I was like, hey, let's just put those ears on all the female Yordles, see if they like it. Then I made this over here. And I already felt it. When I started this drawing, I already felt that impression, or like that challenge of thinking what everybody else was, or like worrying about what everybody else was going to think, right? And I set up the expectation with Poppy, and then I was like, okay, well, I got to make it as good as this. I got to make it go with that, okay? And then eventually I kind of had to catch myself and be like, no, you know what? Like, no, that's not what this is about. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll make the forum post and everything. Let's see how that goes. Let's just do an experiment, because maybe that'll get a lot more traffic over to the YouTube. More people will find out who I am, all that good stuff. So I did that anyway. And it turned out pretty good. I was really happy with that. But then with Lulu again, and for those of you who saw earlier in the show where I was drawing all of these sketches, this is where I was talking about art block. And art block I really feel comes when you are being stressed out about something, you're thinking about the expectations of what everybody has for you, and it completely disrupts and just kills your process, right? Your creative process. And the living proof of that is you guys can go back to the show when I was talking about sketching this. And I did like 5, 6, 7 sketches of just like these different ideas of Lulu. And, because constantly in the back of my mind, I was worried about what everybody was going to think about it. I was like, oh, well, I kind of want to draw her kind of scary looking. Oh, but what if everybody says it's creepy and then they don't like it, and then they don't like me, and they say you suck, and then they throw me into a big pit, and then I burn alive, and they forget I ever existed, and then, everybody hates me, especially, all my loved ones. What if that happens, right? And so, like, with that stress happening to me, I was not able to get, I was not able to flow and just make the thing work. But as soon as I took a break and just realigned myself with my values and why I was doing this, I was able to make some decent headway, some decent progress. And I still could have even done better. But I just want to show you guys, hopefully that's a good example of how once you do something, once you set something up, you got to be really careful with how you think about what everybody else is going to say. And this is also happening with the comic, like right now. This is happening with the comic because I'm really excited to release issue 3, and I'm super excited about it, right? But I'm like, oh, well, issue 1 came out, issue 2 came out, and it's like, oh, this one's got to be even better, and people are going to be expecting this. And it's totally just like freezing me. It's freezing me to the point where I am just trying to find any distraction to take me away from working on the comic. But I'm aware that I'm doing this, and I'm going to, obviously fix it. But again, I just hope that you guys don't fall into that trap. Okay, a couple questions. Sorry, I was talking freaking forever. Hopefully, I'm looking for question marks. People are asking, what does KNKL stand for? KN is Knockwurst, KN, and KL is my last 2 letters, or my initials, obviously. And I'm probably going to put that on the frequently asked questions on the Twitch thing. Oh, Aliano is asking, do I watch TED Talks usually? No, actually I don't. I usually just have them recommended to me through friends, or just see them on Facebook. That was actually how I saw it. Was a friend that I met at Comic-Con, actually the creator of that picture right there. Her name is Megan Mitchell, and she posted that on there. And I saw it and I was like, this is so awesome. This is really awesome. So I love TED Talks. You guys should definitely check those stuff out. I want to be one of those people. I want to be one of those people that gives like those motivational speeches and like targeted artists or whatever, you know, comic artists. I want to be at Comic-Con and being like, yes, you can make your comic and be yourself. Be yourself. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Bushcraft Gaming is asking a great question. He says he's struggling with the face of pretty much everything I draw. Oh, this is a good question. I draw a good design, and then I go to paint it, and I'll put the shadows where they should be, but it'll be too deep maybe. It just never works. How do you get your faces to just work? Oh, okay. This is a great question. There's a couple things that I do, Mr. Burstcraft. One of the things that I really like to do is I've often noticed that while you're working on a piece, and I'll just go ahead and pull up Lulu here. Oftentimes, you're going to start seeing, you know, because you're looking at this picture for hours and hours on end. So a big important thing to do, and actually I can show you guys some faces that I was doing for my freelance work. Yay! Freelance work! Woohoo! As soon as it loads. Oh no, not that one. Okay, well, we can start with this one. Okay, so a couple things that I like to do when I'm starting off with faces is when you're learning to draw faces, is it's great to have reference. Reference of, I think I was using a reference of Gerard Butler just for the lighting of the face. And then what I did was I just started kind of playing around with the positions of the facial features, just like grabbing the nose with the lasso tool, right? Just grabbing the nose and then just like bumping it around, right? Just like kind of bumping it around and just like moving it like this, like that, you know? Just like moving the facial features around and noticing how it changes the face. But the biggest thing that I've noticed while doing faces is A, you want to make sure you keep it simple, and B, another thing that really helps is flipping the canvas, okay? And there's a couple ways to do this. I'll show you. Okay, so here's some of the, the expressions that I was doing for Marcus. And I'm so happy that my awesome freelance client is allowing me to show these things on the stream because these are very good to show. Okay, so one thing that I really like to do is I like to go to Image. You know, I'm going to Image up in the toolbar, and then I'm going to Rotate Canvas, and then Flip Canvas Horizontal. And the reason why I do this is because it gives you fresh eyes on stuff. And I'm sure you guys have heard this, you know, 100 times, but I'm just saying it again. When you flip the canvas, it lets you see the face again, but it's so clear. You know, like one eye might like look like it's like going up on the forehead or like sagging down into the cheek, and you can just grab it and like fix it. You know, and then when you flip it back around, you're like, oh, awesome. So this is something that I do all the time. I always flip, make sure the faces look good from both angles. And another thing is make sure you take a break. Take breaks when you're working on faces. Keep them simple. Flip the canvas. That's my tip to you, good friend. All right. I think that is about it. Oh, okay. Last question coming in from Koli Zion. Koli Zions. I hope I said that name right. If not, you are Koli Zions. This will be the last question. Sorry, can't get to everybody's. He's asking, or he or she is asking, what's my favorite piece that I've ever done? If I have one. My favorite piece that I've ever done. I don't know exactly. I really don't know. Probably like, I don't know, it's probably kind of cheesy to say, but I really like this one. I really like this Emma drawing that I just use it as my desktop, you know, because I really liked it. I like drawing my own characters. I like exploring. I like exploring my own world, you know? So obviously something that I've created out of my own head is going to be one of my favorite pieces. And I just like working, I like having the freedom to just work in my own style. And that's another reason why I've been having so much fun with the Lulu and, you know, all the other Yordle Girl pieces, is because I'm no longer under the expectation to work in a certain style. It's just like I can literally draw this character however I want. I can make whatever changes I want. I can make her hat like gigantic and her ears, you know, like all furry and stuff. And then I can make her hair so big it looks like a cape. You know, it's just like there's no limit. There's no limit. And I think any painting or any piece that I've done, just working in my own style and just being myself, right? Let's tie it all back in. I really feel that I have great memories associated with that. And also, you know, it's not all about just like, oh well, you know, I wouldn't normally do that, so I'm not gonna do it because I don't wanna. I don't wanna. right? It's also good to understand that challenge is a good thing too. And if it's your job, then obviously, there's only so much you can do about working in your own style. There's a lot of positions where you can, work in your own style. Like, concept artists are usually able to do that. Whereas, promotional artists, like what I used to be, usually kind of get pushed into everything needs to look the same and, it has to be one cohesive style, which I understand. But very quickly I understood that that was not going to work for me. And that is why I decided to do something different. Alrighty, peoples. We're going to go ahead and end today. Thank you once again for joining me for Thoughtful Thursday. KNKL episode 108. 108. That's good memories too. People on YouTube, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. My name is Keenan Lafferty. You guys have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Till then, take care.